Hello and welcome to a new episode on What Does This Data Say? I am Ajay Prakash. When India became free in 1947, it was the North that stood tall. The land of the Ganga and Yamuna, the fertile plains and brave hearts of Lahore thinkers, Delhi's poets, and Bihar's revolutionaries. The North had everything a new nation could ask for: rivers that never ran dry, soil that never slept, and people who knew how to work the land, fight for honor, and rebuild from the ruins. The Bhakra Nangal project rose on the Satluj. Nehru called it a temple of modern India. From Kanpur's factories to Patna's colleges, the North looked ready to lead. But something changed. 75 years later, the very region that once fed and led the nation is now home to its poorest districts, its most crowded classrooms, and its most desperate migration. This is the story of that long fall and the question: can the North rise again? Before I go further in this podcast, there is no better way to judge an economy other than by analyzing the per capita income or the GDP. Since this figure is a telltale sign of economic health, the Modi government never talks about it. Instead, we hear that India is the fourth largest economy in the world, which stands at around $4 trillion. At the time of independence in 1947, there were over 590 princely states and the British India, of course, that needed to be integrated into one nation. There is no region wise or state wise GDP figures available for that period. India's GDP in 1947 was approximately $27 billion, which was about 4% of the world's total GDP at that time. The per capita GDP was around $82, which is equivalent to at that time around 270 rupees, and our population was around 330 million, that is 33 crores. By 1980, the picture started to emerge. India's population, according to the 1981 census, was 68.52 crores, which had nearly doubled from 1947. India's GDP per capita in 1980-81 was rupees 1625. It had grown by around 6 times. If you observe this figure closely, you would notice that the disparity in income is not at extreme levels. Most of the states are within 10 to 15% of the national average, barring a few outliers. Maharashtra, Gujarat, Punjab, and Haryana on the higher side, and Bihar on the lower side. Now come to 2023. The data is becomes totally skewed. The lower spectrum sees states such as Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Assam, much of the northeast, and Jammu and Kashmir, while the south has seen during the same period accelerated growth. States like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Telangana are not only way above the national average, their contribution is much more than the most industrialized state of India, which is Maharashtra. This figure provides of per capita GDP of 2022 and is a good comparison of the economy of Indian states in comparison to our neighboring countries. UP, Bihar, and Jharkhand remain the laggards. The central India better than Pakistan but behind Bangladesh. The rest of India almost close to double of the lower ranked states. So now let's get on with our story. Where did the North go wrong? The story begins with independence. North India had nature's favor. Rivers, canals, plains, and the country's capital itself. But policy turned the gift into neglect. Nehru's vision of socialism put heavy industry at the center, steel in Bhilai, engineering in Rourkela, yet agriculture, the North's strength so far, was ignored. Uttar Pradesh and Bihar were told to grow food but not given the tools to modernize it. Fertilizer plants were set up elsewhere, canal projects crawled, and the North's farmers stayed at the mercy of the monsoon. Punjab only deepened the wound. Punjab lost Lahore, its industrial heart. Refugees poured into Delhi and Amritsar, scrambling for jobs and home. Yet, amid chaos, Punjab showed resilience. Refugee enterprise, cooperative banks, and Bhakra Nangal's turbines lit new hopes. Bihar and Uttar Pradesh were less lucky. Land reforms were written, not implemented. The zamindar turned politician and poverty became hereditary. Between 1950 and 1964, the North remained the political capital but never became the economic one. Delhi prospered, Kanpur declined, Patna debated, Madras delivered. When Nehru died in 1964, the North had lost more than a leader. It had lost direction. Then came the Green Revolution, and following that revolution came a plateau. Food shortages, droughts, PL 480 wheat from America, India was hungry again. Then came a scientific miracle, the Green Revolution. Hybrid seeds, chemical fertilizers, new canals, they transformed the landscape of Punjab, Haryana, and western UP. By 1975, India went from begging for grain to exporting it. But the miracle stopped at the canal's edge. Eastern UP and Bihar barely changed. Fragmented land, corrupt cooperatives, and weak irrigation kept them trapped. Punjab's farmers bought tractors. Bihar farmers still waited for rain. The North's internal divide was born. Meanwhile, industrial towns Kanpur, Varanasi, Dhanbad fell behind the new hubs of Bombay, Coimbatore, and Madras. License Raj choked northern enterprise. Politics turned populist. Free slogans, not free markets. Indira Gandhi's emergency years deepened central control. Chief minister became loyalists, not leaders. By 1980, Punjab was rich but restless. UP and Bihar were poor and angry. The tractors rolled, the granaries filled, but the classrooms stayed empty. The North had its revolution, but only in wheat. The 1980s brought growth again, 5% GDP, rising incomes, but the geography of that growth shifted southward. Tamil Nadu quoted electronics, Maharashtra built auto hubs, Karnataka's Bangalore began writing software. The north, it exported labor. From Gopalganj to Gorakhpur, millions left home to work in Bombay's mills, Delhi's markets, and Punjab's farm. Migration became a survival for the north. By the 1990s, liberalization arrived. Markets opened, tariffs fell, global capital entered. But the states that benefited were the ones which were already prepared, educated, electrified, and urbanized. UP and Bihar were none of these. Punjab too began to decline. Soil depletion, militancy, and neglect. Its farmers had fed India, but its youth found no new horizon. Meanwhile, Bihar descended into governance collapse. Roads disappeared, schools decayed, and corruption became the culture. When the millennium turned, The per capita gap between Tamil Nadu and Bihar was 5 is to 1. The divide was no longer anecdotal, it was arithmetic. The South made software, the North made slogans. By 2000, India had two economies, one modern, one medieval, all living under one flag. 21st century was the age of acceleration, but the engines were in the south and west. Tamil Nadu built auto corridors and ports. Kerala educated its women and sent skilled migrants abroad. Maharashtra powered finance and manufacturing. Meanwhile, UP and Bihar grew faster in population than in the GDP. By 2020, Tamil Nadu's per capita income crossed 2.2 lakhs. Bihar's was 46,000, less than a quarter. UP hovered around 65,000. Fertility remained high, jobs remained scarce, governance stayed performative. Bihar's economy depended on remittances, 1.5 lakh crores a year sent by its sons working elsewhere. UP success stories, Noida, Lucknow, and Varanasi, were islands in a sea of underdevelopment. Even Punjab lost its way from the granary of India to land of debt, and its youth turned from plow to politics, from enterprise to escape. While the South debated skill mission, the North debated religion. While the South expanded exports, the North expanded subsidies. The result? India's economic map inverted. The region that once ruled the Ganga plain now survives on Delhi's grants. History is not destiny, but it does leave its fingerprints. When India became free, the North carried the hope, the rivers, the soil, the strength. Yet today, it carries the burden of numbers, neglect, and nostalgia. What went wrong wasn't nature, it was nurture, a politics that rewarded rhetoric over reform, the leadership that counted votes instead of villages with electricity, a society that measured faith, not future. But the decline is not final. UP and Bihar still hold India's largest youth population. Punjab still has its enterprise. If education becomes the new revolution, if governance replaces grievance, the North can still rise. Because rivers can dry, but renewal can also flow from the same soil. The question is not where did North go wrong anymore. The real question is, does the North still have the courage to get it right? If you found this episode insightful, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more truth to light, one story at a time. Thank you for watching. I am Ajay Prakash.